How do you prevent a child running down the stairs, falling? How do you prevent that?
Again, yes. You see, let me quickly answer that question straightly before I make some explanation.
Okay.
If you have a stairway, a staircase,
Yes.
just make a gate from the top. It prevents the child from falling down. You make a gate at the top, make a gate at the bottom of the staircase. So it prevents child from rolling down. You know, of course, you realize that is just one out of the several incidences, several hazards that are in the house. What if a child is just running from hiding under the curtain, those kind of hides under the curtain, and you didn't know the child is hiding behind the curtain, and you're coming with hot tea or hot water or something, and the child runs into you, it pours on the child. So there are so many hazards there. What you need to do is announce your presence. If you are going close to a curtain,
hot water coming through.
Yeah, John, maybe the child's name is John. John, are you behind the curtain? So let the child know
child be aware
that you're coming. There's so many other things. There are so many other things like electrical cables. When electrical cables are caught and you refuse to pay attention to it, it could cause a spark and the entire house goes up in flame. It could also be knife. When you have knife in your hand, anytime you send a child to get a knife, you make sure the child puts that knife in a saucer. If you carry anything that is probably like a machete or a knife, make sure that the sharp end is brought downward, point downward. So you don't harm anyone running into you, any child bump into you, anyone, 50% of falls in a house are fatal. They are fatal. Of course, when an elderly person falls or trips, they could have a fracture, especially women, because the head of the femur when they grow older, there's osteoporosis. So when they trip, the head of the femur breaks. That is the strongest bone in the body, and it happens to men as well. So it's very, very dangerous for them. And apart from that, maybe they want to climb a staircase because they are losing their ability, their coordination. Their coordination becomes precarious at an old age. So if they are trying to climb a staircase and they miss their step, they go down. Then we also have bumps as well. Apart from the fact that a child bumps to you when carrying hot water, it might even be you, an adult, you want hot water to bathe with. So you boil water in the kitchen, and you're going in the kettle, and you're taking to the kitchen, bathroom to pour it. And something can happen. Maybe there's water on the floor and you were not aware of it, you tripped, and hot water pours on you. So in that case, the easiest thing to do is just to make sure you go to the kitchen with a bucket filled with some cold water, normal water. Then you add to it. So even if the water falls off from your hand unknowingly, it won't be hot enough to burn you. And you have, of course, you have your gas. There's so many other things. There's so many things that are involved in it. You have poisoning as well.
Yes.
Poison in terms of
rats poison and all that.
Babies could go close to the poisons, and it could also be pesticide.
Insecticide.
No, it could be drugs as well. Drugs that are meant for adults. Kids pick it up and they swallow it and it chokes them. It's affected because that's why on every drug, keep out of reach of children is always described on it. So there's so many things that could be involved. It could be your mirror.
Okay, yeah.
It could be mirror. It could be
how.
Well, mirrors are usually when they have sharp edges, especially if the edges are not well framed.
Yes.
And you handle it carelessly, it cuts you. If you send your 2-year-old or 2.5-year-old to get me a mirror, and the child just handles it carelessly, it cuts the child. If it falls off, it cuts the child. And so there are so many dangers at home.
Even nylon, I know that because they always put it there.
Exactly. It chokes.
Yeah.
A baby is between 0 and 6 months. They can cover themselves with the pillows that you use to support them. And I mean, relating that to suffocation in terms of nylon as well.
Yes.
So many, and some of them can even choke in their vomit. That's why when we had a baby, someone told my wife not to breastfeed the baby while lying down. The reason is very simple, so that the baby don't get choked while you're lying down, because peradventure the mammary gland is no longer, the mammary organ is not in the mouth of the baby anymore, and it enters the the nose, and
Yeah.
baby breathes, and baby sucks it in,
Yes.
and then it can happen.
It's a general belief that the people of the extreme age and females, they are the ones prone to domestic accidents. How true is that?
Very true. Because when you are older, your coordination becomes, precarious. You are not able to coordinate yourself properly. Sometimes some of them suffer from amnesia,
Yeah.
and the strength they have is not there anymore. What the things they used to do, they can't. The things they used to pay attention, they can't pay attention to them anymore. I actually stumbled on a man who is like 70, and he still has perfect control of his senses, and I was impressed.
70. 70 is rather young.
But in statistics tells us that between 65 and above, 65,
Yeah.
from 65 upward,
Upward.
you have higher level of trips and falls.
Okay.
And usually when it happens, it's usually fatal. And if any one of them survives it, if they don't die, they end up being on the wheelchair,
Oh.
getting incapacitated for life. So that age is common among them to fall, to trip,
To trip.
to be careless.
Okay.
Now, coming back to women, I would say, well, among the age between that 65 years to so, I would say the elderly women are, in fact, among the elderly ones, the female ones are more prone to it than the male.
Why?
Because the older they become, the more porous their bones.
Okay.
Medically, there's a change in their bones, and there's porous in it, osteoporosis. That's why there's a drug that's meant to take care of osteoporosis. And when they fall, usually what happens where the fall impact in their body is their hip.
Okay.
The head of the femur breaks. Now, talking about women now in the middle age, I've talked about the elderly ones, the women in the middle age. It happens to them when they are in the menstrual period and when they are pregnant.
The cramps.
You know, so
Okay.
it happens to them that way. And of course, don't forget that women's office in the house, no, I'm not trying to quote anyone, is the kitchen. And the kitchen is where you have the highest number of hazards.
Yes.
Okay.
And the people that, the gender that occupies that room as the females.
No, not. But maybe you say it most of the time because we have
well-
a lot of chefs that are male.
You're talking about conventional, but at home,
At home.
when the father doesn't do the regular cooking, it's the female
Yeah,
that does
it's
the
the
regular
female
cooking.
that
Yeah.
You can join us tomorrow for another exciting episode of Tea or Coffee.